Let's talk about a team that had or has had a very weird couple of days. And
I know who you're going to say.
That is the New Orleans Pelicans.
Ding, 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 ding.
They have had a very strange early run in the Joe Dumars, Troy Weaver era in New Orleans. To recap, a couple of days ago, they acquired Jordan Poole and Saddiq Bey from the Washington Wizards for CJ McCollum and Kelly Olynyk. The Wizards' reasons for acquiring those guys was pretty easy. Those guys, their contract comes off the books next year, and they could have as much as $100 million in cap space in the summer of 2026. I get it from the Wizards' perspective. Jordan Poole, though, has a fat contract and an inefficient game. Saddiq Bey didn't play last year, recovering from an ACL injury. Showed some flashes before then of being a decent player. So they do that deal, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess you did want to shake things up around Zion. Even David Griffin was talking about that the last couple of years. So there you go, you can do with that. Then you get to draft night. And they draft with the 7th pick, Jeremiah Fears. I actually like that pick. Again, I think Fears has a long runway, but 3 years from now, when he's 21 years old, he could be a franchise point guard. Like, he's that young, but I think the talent in him is real. The next decision they make is to trade up from the 23rd pick, which they held, to the 13th overall pick. They traded up 10 spots to draft Derik Queen. The cost was that 23rd overall pick and a 2026 first-round pick, which is the better of the two picks between the Pelicans and the Milwaukee Bucks, two teams that have very shaky short-term futures. That pick, here's how one executive described that pick to me. He said, quote, they traded away one of the 5 most valuable draft picks in the entire league across all years from 2026 to 2032 to move up 10 spots. That is a huge price to pay. They also drafted Derik Queen. I'm not a fan of Derik Queen. I've watched him, and I've talked to other teams about him. He has as much variance, I think, as any player that was drafted in the lottery. Like, you can look at Derik Queen, and you can see a guy with great hands, great footwork, developing into kind of that combo forward center in the modern NBA. But he's not an efficient shooter. He has an incredibly slow release. He's like the Tim Tebow of the NBA. Like, his release is really slow, and he just doesn't have great size. Like, he's not a big guy. And I'm looking at Derik Queen, I'm like, him next to Zion, how does that work? Did Troy Weaver like him because he played at Maryland? Like, I don't know. I couldn't forget the fact. I mean, I guess you can't forget the fact they traded away the 2026 pick, because that's the big part of all this. But they move up 10 spots to draft Derik Queen, and they give away a pick that could turn out to be the number 1 pick overall in next year's draft, which is projected to be really damn good, especially at the top.
But you're missing one word when you describe this. Unprotected.
Yeah.
They gave it away unprotected into what is supposed to be this year, next year, is supposed to be 2 of the best drafts of this era. I don't understand it. And I am not a college basketball expert. I always cede to the guys who scout all year when it comes to the draft. But in a lot of those reports from the guys who scout all year, there have been some red flags about conditioning. Is that who you want to draft if you're the New Orleans Pelicans and you've got the Zion problem and you're in a city that does not do great for people's conditioning because of all the food there? The thing to come back to, though, is unprotected pick. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense. Our friend Zach Lowe had an interesting theory. Bryson Graham, who used to be in that front office and overlapped a little bit after David Griffin when Joe Dumars came in, that he went to Atlanta and he had sort of some inside intel on who Joe was looking for and able to help work part of that deal.
Smart.
I don't know if that's true, but I like that Zach Lowe theory. It doesn't make sense, though. Even if somebody wants you to do something dumb, frankly, there's no reason you have to do it.
It's like Austin Ainge calling Boston and be like, I know that Jalen and Jason aren't the best of friends.
Right.
Maybe you should
give us Jalen Brown. Right.
We'll
you don't have to do it.
We'll give you Lowry.
Right. You don't have to do it.
And a top 20 protected first.
I am a big Joe Dumars fan personally. I think he likes some of those old school feel players, and I think Derik has a little bit of that. But this is a huge mystery. I absolutely think giving away that pick will come back to bite them. I absolutely think it's going to end up being a great pick. And it is, in this day and age, where everything is just analyzed to the last decimal of a decimal of a decimal, and where the owners have created rules that they can't spend their way out of problems by creating 18 aprons, and they've limited trades so you can't compound salaries, and making trades can be more difficult. What you have is drafting, and giving away one of those picks, including an unprotected possible #1 pick, is absolute insanity.
It's nuts.
There's no excuse for it.
It's nuts, and I'm trying to pull up the Western Conference standings on my iPad right now. Like it.
You're not winning anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You look at the Western Conference next year. Like, do you have New Orleans in your top 10?
No.
In the Western Conference?
No.
I don't. The Bucks. A month from now, the Bucks could be rebuilding. Like, they could be trading Giannis. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but one of those two picks is going to be really good.
Yeah.
One of those two picks, is going to be in the lottery room. And what have we seen in that lottery room over the last few years? If there's no overhaul to the system, and I don't think there's going to be, not in the short term, you're talking about a pretty decent chance that the owner of that pick jumps up in the lottery. I mean, I thought Atlanta had an excellent couple of days.
Yeah.
You go and get Porzingis. Like, yeah, you got to give up a little bit of talent, a draft pick, but you get a guy on an expiring contract. You can take one more swing with this Trae Young-led team before choosing to do something else. If you decide to do something else, you got maybe the #1 overall pick next year, or a top 5 pick next year. Great deals by the Atlanta Hawks. The Pelicans, I don't know what Joe's doing down there. I don't get it. I just don't get the thought process of bringing in Jordan Poole. Like, what? Like, Jordan Poole kind of, sort of, I mean, he did help them win a title in 2022. He was part of that mix, but has not shown anything really in, Washington besides durability. He's a durable guy. I don't get it. I don't get the Pelicans' last couple of days. I don't get it.
We've been in the transaction era. Fans never used to follow transactions as closely as we have over the last 5-7 years. So we've been in that era anyway. I think because of the limitations I just mentioned from the CBA and all of the restrictions, I just think the role of the front office just continues to grow. And whether your team wins a title depends more on how savvy your front office is than it ever has before in the NBA. And we are starting to see what those differences are, and differences that may have read in the past as like, that wasn't a great decision, that seems like a better decision. Now that we do all minutely analyze every decision these guys make, because we have to, because it is the future of their team, we are seeing where some of the cracks and fissures are, and this is one I don't get.
Yeah, I don't get it either.